Have you ever wondered why some people seem to find peace and freedom as they grow older, while others feel stuck or even trapped in their relationships? The truth is, having a partner in your later years isn't always the blessing people imagine it to be. For many, it can quietly become a burden, draining energy, limiting choices, and adding stress to a stage of life that should be more peaceful. If you've ever felt like your relationship takes more than it gives, at this point in life, you're not alone. In this video, we're exploring 5 key reasons why having a partner in old age can actually make life harder instead of easier. But let's be clear, this isn't about rejecting love or companionship. It's about seeing the full picture and making choices that genuinely support your well-being. Stick with me until the end, because what you're about to hear might completely change how you view relationships in your later years. 1. The emotional burden of constant compromise. As you age, your tolerance for stress naturally declines. Yet being in a relationship often demands continuous compromise. When you're younger, adjusting your habits or preferences for the sake of harmony may feel manageable. But as time goes on, those constant adjustments can begin to feel exhausting. Simple choices, what to eat, where to go, how to spend your day, can become drawn-out discussions. Over time, these small compromises pile up and drain your emotional energy. Take Robert, a 74-year-old who spent most of his adult life adapting to his wife's preferences. Now all he wants is quiet mornings. But every day she turns on the TV at full volume. It may seem like a minor issue, but after decades of bending to someone else's needs, even small things feel heavy. The reality is, at this stage in life, you shouldn't feel obligated to constantly adjust just to maintain peace. Many people find themselves stuck in emotional routines, always managing another person's feelings, apologizing, reassuring, and adapting. In old age, that weight can become unbearable. Instead of feeling free to enjoy your day, you may still be caught in cycles of emotional labor. And the harsh truth is, if your relationship is consistently draining your energy, it may no longer be serving you. Peace of mind should be your top priority, but many stay in relationships out of habit, unaware of how much lighter life could feel without the constant pressure to compromise. 2. The loss of true independence. One of the greatest rewards of aging is the chance to finally live life on your own terms. After decades of working, raising families, and maintaining relationships, you've earned the right to choose freely. But when you're in a relationship, that freedom is often limited. Your decisions are still tied to someone else's routines, habits, and expectations. You might believe you're enjoying your golden years together, but in reality, you could be sacrificing the most valuable thing this stage of life has to offer: true independence. Take Frank, a 78-year-old man who spent his entire life as a devoted husband. When his wife passed, he realized something startling. He had never made decisions just for himself. Every detail of his life had involved compromise. Only after he was alone did he experience what it felt like to wake up with no obligations, no one to consult, and no pressure to explain his choices. For the first time, he felt free. Even in happy partnerships, you're expected to coordinate your day, check in with your partner, and adjust your schedule. It's not about disliking the other person. It's about how much personal autonomy slowly fades in a shared life. Traveling on a whim, picking up new hobbies, or simply changing your routine can all require a conversation, a compromise, or a second thought. There's also the slow erosion of mental independence. After years of making decisions together, your thinking may begin to blend with your partner's. Without realizing it, your perspective becomes influenced, shaped by the constant back and forth of long-term partnership. But when you're alone, you have a rare opportunity to rediscover your own voice. You start to make choices based entirely on your own happiness, not on what keeps the peace. Independence isn't just about living alone. It's about reclaiming your time, your mind, and your life. The ability to move through life without unnecessary constraints is one of the greatest freedoms you can experience in your later years. The longer you're in a relationship, the more you're conditioned to adjust and adapt. But with age comes the opportunity to let go of those invisible restraints and fully embrace your own desires, without guilt, without hesitation. If you're still here and finding this content meaningful, let me know by commenting number 2 below. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you never miss a future video. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and empowers. Now let's move forward. 3. The emotional exhaustion of constant compromise. Relationships often begin with a sense of comfort, support, and companionship. But as you grow older, you may realize that they also require something you no longer have the energy to give: constant compromise. It's a slow, subtle drain that often goes unnoticed until you experience the alternative: peaceful solitude, where every decision is yours and yours alone. Take Robert, for example, a 74-year-old man who had been married for decades. He loved his wife deeply, but found himself frequently giving up small joys, watching shows he didn't care for, eating at places that weren't his favorite, adjusting routines to suit her needs. These weren't major sacrifices, but over time, they added up. After his wife passed away, Robert expected to feel lonely. Instead, he felt something unexpected: relief. For the first time in years, he could make decisions based solely on what he wanted, without constantly considering how it would affect someone else. It wasn't about loving his wife less. It was about realizing how emotionally exhausting compromise had become. In your younger years, compromise plays an important role. It teaches patience and builds connection. But in later life, when your energy is finite and your time more precious, constantly negotiating your needs can feel burdensome. You might not even realize how much of yourself you've surrendered until you step outside of the dynamic. Even the smallest things, decorating your home, choosing meals, planning your day, can become emotionally draining when they require ongoing discussions or disagreements. Over time, this wears people down, making them more fatigued than they should be during what should be the most peaceful stage of life. As you grow older, the ability to make decisions freely, without resistance, pushback, or the need to justify yourself, becomes one of life's most underrated luxuries. You no longer have to defend your preferences or filter your words to avoid conflict. That mental clarity, the ability to be fully, unapologetically yourself, is deeply refreshing. 4. The hidden burden of caretaking. When people imagine long-term relationships in old age, they often picture companionship and mutual support, two people growing old together with love and grace. But what's rarely talked about is the heavy burden that comes when one partner's health begins to decline. And the truth is, that decline often happens faster than expected. Consider James, a 77-year-old man who had been married for over 5 decades. When his wife fell ill, he stepped into the role of caregiver without hesitation. In the beginning, it felt manageable, helping with medications, offering comfort, running errands. But as time passed, the demands grew. His sleep suffered, he lost weight, and his stress levels soared. He had no time to take care of himself, and what began as an act of love turned into an all-consuming obligation. This isn't an isolated experience. It's a reality for many elderly couples. When one person becomes sick, the other often becomes their full-time caregiver. While it may seem noble and loving, the toll it takes on the caregiver is severe. Studies show that elderly caregivers experience significantly higher levels of depression, anxiety, and even physical illness due to the constant stress and lack of rest. It's a role that's emotionally and physically draining, and one that often comes at the cost of the caregiver's own health and independence. Tragically, by the time one partner passes away, the other is often left in worse shape than if they had been living alone. Even when both partners are still healthy, there's often an ongoing undercurrent of worry. You may constantly feel the pressure to make sure your partner is eating well, attending medical appointments, staying active, and feeling emotionally supported. It's not just companionship, it's responsibility. And over time, that responsibility can become mentally exhausting. Many seniors who choose to remain single or live independently in their later years find that they completely avoid one of aging's heaviest burdens: the emotional weight of watching a partner's health decline. Without the constant worry about someone else's well-being, they're free to focus on preserving their own routines, energy, and happiness. There's no denying that loving someone is a beautiful part of life, but carrying the emotional and physical toll of another person's deteriorating health can be incredibly draining. As you get older, prioritizing your own mental and physical well-being may be one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. If you're still with me and finding this helpful, drop a number 4 in the comments to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss an update. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs and inspires. Now, let's continue. 5. The financial and emotional strain of late-life partnerships. Many people assume that being in a relationship in old age brings comfort, stability, and support. But what's often overlooked is the financial and emotional strain that can quietly grow over time. The later years of life should be about peace, but for some, being in a partnership brings unexpected stress tied to money, caregiving, and emotional dependence. Consider Robert, an 80-year-old widower who had lived comfortably for years, enjoying the freedom of managing his own money and time. But when he entered a new relationship in his mid-70s, everything changed. His partner was dealing with her own financial struggles, and slowly, Robert found himself shouldering more than he anticipated, covering shared living costs, helping with medical bills, and even supporting her adult children. What began as companionship turned into an ongoing financial responsibility. Before long, he was dipping into his hard-earned savings just to maintain the relationship. Stories like Robert's are more common than you might think. Many seniors who enter relationships later in life end up entwining their financial future with someone else's situation. While some couples navigate this well, others experience significant stress, especially when one person becomes financially dependent on the other. This can create feelings of imbalance, resentment, or even a loss of control. But it's not just about the money. It's about autonomy, fairness, and emotional peace. Disagreements over spending, medical expenses, or inheritance can spark tension. And some seniors find themselves stuck in unhealthy relationships, unable to leave due to financial dependence or fear of isolation. The result? More stress, less freedom, and a sense of obligation that overshadows what should be a rewarding chapter of life. On the flip side, those who remain single often report feeling more in control of their financial choices. They save, spend, and plan without compromise or guilt. There's a quiet power in knowing that every financial decision is fully their own and that their future is in their hands. At the end of the day, relationships in old age aren't just about companionship. They come with real responsibilities, emotional, financial, and practical. And if peace of mind and financial stability are your priorities, choosing independence might just be the smartest move you can make. Final thoughts. As you move through life, the choices you make in your later years take on deeper meaning. While many believe that having a partner is essential to happiness, the truth is, it isn't always. For some, relationships in old age bring more stress than joy. Aging should be about freedom. Freedom to live on your own terms, make decisions without constant compromise, and prioritize your well-being without guilt. The idea that companionship is the only path to happiness is outdated, especially when that companionship comes with obligations, limitations, or emotional strain. So take a moment to reflect. Are you living in a way that truly supports your happiness? Are your relationships bringing you joy, or are you holding on to them out of habit, fear, or obligation? Everyone's situation is unique, but one thing remains certain. Your later years should be spent living in alignment with your values, your peace, and your truth. Your later years should be a time of peace, not filled with unnecessary stress or hardship. Whether you choose to share your life with someone or enjoy the freedom of independence, make sure it's because it truly adds value to your life. Aging isn't about meeting society's expectations. It's about making the wisest choices for yourself. And sometimes, the smartest move is walking away from anything that no longer supports your well-being. Thank you for spending your time with us today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and let us know one thing you took away from this video and how you plan to apply it to your life. Your voice matters to us, and reading your comments inspires us to keep going. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful, meaningful content to inform and empower. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video.